Welcome to Milesh Sadie's Property Talks podcast. We are going to be talking about property myths today. But before we do, for those that are new, quick intro about us. So Sadie, over to you.
Yeah, the whirlwind intro. This is our second episode. So if you didn't watch episode 1, you should go back and definitely watch it or listen to it. I am Sadie. I have an interior design firm called Sadie Pitsy Interiors, and we work with homeowners, commercial clients and developers. And just in a nutshell, I am obsessed with everything to do with property. Milesh?
So I've been in property for over 20 years now as a landlord, investor, developer, and more recently a consultant and network host. Done a whole range of property, buy-to-lets, HMOs, commercial conversions, land, planning gain, and more recently set up the Property Edge, which is a networking space, and also underneath that do one-to-one consulting for people wanting to get into property or grow their businesses. My strength is around the strategy and the planning side of things. And so that's why we've moved into that sort of space more recently. So hopefully that gives you a bit of a whistle stop on us.
Yeah, and we're doing it collaboratively because Milesh comes from obviously the business side of property and understanding everything that goes into making the right deal. And I am but more on the design side. So it's the collaboration of how when the two come together, it's like amazement. That's it.
Amazement. That is a word.
It's a word.
Love it.
Look it up.
Should we crack on with today?
Yeah.
So we're going to bust some myths. So
I know.
Both of us have come across myths in our own little worlds.
Yeah.
And so today we're just going to share a little bit about them. So we've finited them down to three. We've finited them down to three.
Get the words out.
And you can go first.
Yeah.
So myth number one.
Actually, before we start, I don't know how you feel about your myths. I can get a little bit wound up about my myths.
No, really?
Yeah.
I'm sensing that already.
You can sense it already. I think I'll go into number one. And this is why I get a little bit wound up about it. Myth number one is that people assume that interior designers come in at the finishing touches point.
But that's right, isn't it?
No, it's not. Milesh, I'm telling you, what we get known for is the cushion fluffers. Like, oh, you must fluff a lovely cushion. Oh, yeah, I bet you choose some lovely Farrow and Ball colours. Seriously, if that's what we did, I mean, I would have shot myself years ago. No.
I mean, for anyone that knows Sadie, she loves a cushion fluff.
Literally. And people ask me about it all the time. Anyway, so no, we come in right.
I've had that thing where you get a cushion and you do that in the middle.
Milesh, we're not covering this today.
Can you give us
there's not, and there's not going to be a video on it. So if this is what you're here for, leave now.
Anyway, myth one, go.
Myth one, we are not finishing touches. Interior design and interior decorating is two different roles. An interior designer is everything to do with the inside of the building. So that is the spatial planning, the lighting, the electrics, the heating, all the finishes, the bathrooms, the kitchens, everything. And in order to plan it, you have to be in right at the beginning. So ideally, architect comes in, we come in, and we are involved on projects, from anything from 6 months to sort of 2 to 3 years. So we are a massive part. We have a 10-step process because it is such a complicated job. That is my myth number one. As you can see, I get quite worked up about it, but I'm going to calm down now.
And how do you deal with that when people come to you way too late?
Yeah, it's really, really hard because we are sometimes brought in where they've got planning permission. So the layouts are kind of formed. They may have even started their first fix, which if you don't know is when you put the cabling in for lighting and plumbing and things like that. And then we have to work with some constraints. And obviously we do. And we do, we still come up with some great design work. But it's limited. And when people come in early on, it is just so different.
So for somebody who does come to you too late,
yeah,
they're going to have to compromise on the design element because they're obviously a bit too far down the road 100%. Than you would like.
Yeah. I also think it's so helpful because when you're working on a construction site, it's such a collaborative process. So when you are working alongside the architect and the construction company and the structural engineer and garden designers and everybody, when you're all in at the beginning, you become a team and everybody's sort of designing and problem solving together. When you come in late, that team's already formed and it's really hard to get in. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So dispel the myth.
Yeah. And I just think it's different for what you want. If you are literally just going to do up a living room, of course, bring in more of an interior decorator and they will help you with your colours and your cushion fluffing. But if you are doing a big construction project, interior design right at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
So give me the difference then between the two.
The two. Interior decorator is somebody who comes in and they're doing more of a cosmetic finish, if you like. So there's no walls coming down. Potentially, you're not even changing any of your structural interior design, which is things like your flooring or your joinery. You know, it's all very just coming in and you're doing colors and you're doing finishes and you're doing furniture. That is more of the job of a decorator.
Okay. So the most that you can do with that space is the walls, the ceiling, lighting, and then obviously all the
but you can't
itself.
if you're going to just do decorating, your electric's already in, so you don't want to be ruining any of your walls. If you've got a space that you're going to change structurally, or even that you want to start to rip out kitchens or bathrooms, or you want to redo your electrics, then you want to bring in an interior designer.
Okay.
That's the
cool.
difference.
That's really useful to know, because I bet you not lots of people know and understand it. It's one of those where I assume you come across a lot of ignorance is a wrong word, I suppose, but you don't know what you don't know.
No, and right? I actually think in the UK we're really bad at explaining that to the public. I think in America the two jobs are really divided quite. It's quite sort of known, I guess, publicised. And obviously interior designers do decorating jobs. You know, we don't do very many, but we do a few. But if you're just an interior decorator, you won't have the skill set to do the design work.
Right. Whereas it is possible to do
both. Yeah. 100%. I know.
I can tell you're a little bit passionate about this.
Just a bit. I really couldn't care less. I'm kidding. Milesh, what's yours?
Okay. So for me, property is quick.
Yeah.
I think the education sector doesn't help with this, because there's a lot of, you can be financially free in 7 days and all this stuff just to get people through the door. It's not quick. It's particularly slower now than I think it ever has been. So typically, I mean, when we first got involved properly 9 years ago, you were able to buy something, you were able to renovate it, get the relevant planning permission for, in our case, for HMO, and refinance the thing probably within 9 months.
Right, but that's not how it is now.
Today, it takes you about 4 or 5 months for the refinance process.
Wow.
You know, now talking to agents, they're saying a standard purchase can take anywhere between 3 and 5 months. So just those two together is 10 months, and you haven't even gone into the property.
No.
And refurbed it. And if you're dealing with planning, that's another 3 months minimum.
Yeah.
Plus all the work you need to do up front of the submission, and then conditions afterwards and all that sort of stuff. So I think you're looking at a couple of years to get a project done properly.
Yeah.
So it's not quick. And this is where the strategic side really kicks in, is to understand what it is you want from property. Let's not like joke about it, right? There are hundreds of ways that you can make money out of property. And the strategic side is critical, because you need to understand what you want from it, and then go and find the right strategy that will suit you in accordance to your individual needs.
That bit's really hard, I think, like choosing a strategy and sticking with it.
Yeah, but if you force yourself to do that and give yourself the time and the space to do that before you've started, just imagine the saving and the direction that you're going to end up in 3-5 years. And if you, versus you not doing that and ended up somewhere in 3 or 5 years and going, no, actually, you know, I wanted lumps of cash, but I've ended up with a portfolio that's kicking out monthly income, which is great. But that's not what I set out to do.
Yeah.
And so it's really important to get that bit right. So it's not quick. It does take time.
Yeah.
But make sure you're doing it in the right way that's going to serve you.
Okay, that's interesting. So when you say it's going to take time, if you were going to go down the sort of the rental portfolio, like how, if you want, you know, you're starting with sort of one property, what's a decent time frame to think you're going to get to a kind of decent portfolio size?
It depends on how much time you've got and how much money you've got. There's no one answer, sadly.
Fair.
As much as you want to hear one.
I do. I would want it written down right now.
Yeah. So the time and effort up front is, right, what do I actually want from it?
Yeah.
How much time have I got and how much money have I got?
Okay.
And you can work with all of those, whether you've got limited time and limited money, you can still move forward.
Okay.
If you've got loads of money and loads of time, you can move forward as well, maybe a little bit quicker.
Right. Okay.
So that's why understanding those things up front
Yeah.
will help you to pave the way going forwards. And as time goes on and you get more experienced, then those levers will move
Yeah.
to enable a quicker progress if that's what you want from it, really.
And I guess when you work with people, when you work coaching people, you're helping people along that journey.
For me, it's all about getting the strategy right at the start.
Yeah.
In terms of what you want from it. So if that's a 3-year plan to get out your job, if that's a 5-year plan to get out your job, if it's a 6-week plan to get out your job, then I'm probably not the right person for you to work with, because it's not realistic. Yeah. I mean, listen, you've got to 10x everything you put together as a plan, but it's still got to be realistic. Yeah. And so I help people just through knowledge, experience to understand what that right time scale is for the individual, and then support them along the way. So there you go. Myth one. Done.
Myth number 2.
2 for you.
I think we've got a similar one for 2. So, which is, for me, it's that interior design is easy.
Yeah.
And I think there's a similar thing that the property developing journey is easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know what to say except for that it's not. And if you want to do it on your own, good luck. It's really complicated.
Just say it how it is.
Yeah. Just that's how it is. No, of course you can do it on your own, but if you are going to do it on your own, it's a bit like I imagine the property journey. You have to do your research. You have to be super organized. You need to have spreadsheets galore, and you need to be knowledgeable. So you need to start to learn. For me, it would be you need to learn construction. You have to have a knowledge of what's going on site. It's not easy because you've got a time constraint that you're trying to stick to, and you've also got a budget that you need to stick to. And whether you're developing your own home or you're doing it as a career and you're as a developer, both still matter. So you can't you have to be organized, you have to have knowledge, and it has to be done in, we have this 10-step process for a reason, because it means that everything is done and organized. And that's without the actual creativity of coming up with an incredible design. And, we've been doing it for years. What you see on Pinterest doesn't necessarily translate to what's actually going to work in a space. So yeah, when people say it's easy, and it's so time consuming, if you work full time, I guess equally in your position, if you work full time, the time to be on site, to be literally managing every element that's coming into that building, it's a lot. It really is. So good luck. That's what I'd like to say. Milesh, what about you?
I love
it's
the
easy.
bluntness.
Yeah, just blunt, just out there. It's easy. What do you say?
It isn't.
Yeah.
It's there's so many differing intricacies to every angle of property that you need to have a decent understanding if you're going to do it well. Mm-hmm. Whether that's how to negotiate on a deal, whether that's how to find the right area that's going to be tailored to what you want from it, whether that's a design aspect, understanding construction.
Yeah.
You need to have the basics. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't love the construction side, but I've got a high level overview of first fix, second fix, what order things should be done. And you need to understand that and master that. Yes, you can be reliant on other people to do that, but it stands you in much better stead if you understand at a high level the process.
Yeah.
Dealing with lenders, finding the right valuer. It's not a case of let's find the best rate and then whatever valuer a lender sends, we'll just go with. That in itself is a big thing.
No, even you talking about it now, it's like filled me with dread. I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to start.
I've been known to go to my broker and say, right, talk to me about lenders panels in terms of valuations that are going to value my property in the right way versus give me the cheapest rate with whatever lender, with whatever valuer.
Yeah.
Those things are really, really important. That's just a little snippet of, a huge process.
Yes. Yeah.
So it can be done, but like anything, the more knowledge you've got, the more experience you've got, or if you're working with somebody who has done all those things, it's just going to accelerate your journey.
I always say it's always time versus money. If you have got loads and loads of time and patience and you're willing to learn the journey and be super organized, of course you can do it without us. But if you work full time and you are time poor and you still want to go on this journey, you need to bring in the right team.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
all about investing in the team for me. So I think it really blows my mind, because also the investment of property is so big. So why would you not then pay to bring in the right experts to make sure that investment, goes the right way?
And let's talk about it, right? It's expensive.
Yeah.
It is expensive. And so if you think about, you've done your numbers on a refurb and everything else, and then like you've got an interior designer going, do you know what? I need to be right involved right from the start. Obviously you come at quite a cost, right? And so to get your head around that can be quite difficult. Similarly, when people are looking to work with me, yes, there's a cost involved.
Yeah.
But, arguably, if you don't invest in that resource early, then it's going to take you longer to get to your outcomes.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to get that right mindset around it.
Totally agree. And that actually leads on to my myth number 3, which is that, I tell you what, it's like we rehearsed it. It is that everyone goes it's expensive, you're a luxury. And I don't dispute that. We are a luxury and we are expensive. But like you said, property is such an investment. And actually, what is the cost of if you get it wrong? So if you don't bring in the experts and you make these big mistakes, how is that going to impact you? So yes, you're going to pay, for us it's a design fee, and for Milesh it's obviously a fee for his consultancy, but that is going to pay you dividends because you're going to get the most out of that property journey. So for us, we're experts in what we do, so we can get the most out of that property for you. And we also really guide people as to where to save money. I also think it depends on where you are in your property journey. If you're at the beginning and you're buying small 2-bed flats, potentially you need us less. But if you're moving up that property ladder and you're dealing with, higher and higher lucrative properties, you have got to bring in the experts.
And it matters a lot more.
It matters so much more because people, your end buyer or renter, they expect so much more.
Yeah. And I guess cost of not doing.
Yeah.
So for example, cost of not working with yourself or someone like yourself would be, if it's your own home, you're going to have to sit in that house every single day knowing that it could have been better.
Yeah, and you've spent all your money on it.
If it's an investment, then actually you're not selling it.
No. And
as quick as you would like.
100%.
And there's comparable stuff out there that means your property is not as attractive as others, and all of that costs money.
And I'll give you I've got a really good example. Because,
why don't you give us an example?
Well, it's just literally just come to my head. But I have an electrician friend who's worked on loads of my projects, and he's such a lovely guy. But he brought me in to see one of his properties because he's also a developer. And he said, I really want your honest feedback. He brought me in right at the end. And a lot of it was good, but some of the layouts he had just missed. And because of that, I think it's going to be quite a hard sell. He had basically his master suite, he'd made too small. He'd only done a tiny ensuite, and he hadn't put in any sort of dressing room area. And this was like a 6-bed executive luxury home. And I just walked in and I said, that's going to be a problem for people buying it. That's what they would expect. If we'd come in earlier, we would have recarved up those spaces and been able to create that luxury experience. And I just think it's such a shame because he's spent a lot of money. And again, maybe he's invested in areas that I don't think are going to really pay out. So if he brought in the right experts early on, I think it could have been a different outcome.
Yeah. So it's not easy. I guess the summary is, if you can fund it, then invest in experts in all elements of 100%. That development.
Not just us. I mean, we are rock stars, but other people along the journey as well, 100%.
Yeah, cool. So, myth number 3, is it you or me?
No, I've done all mine. I've sailed through.
You've done third?
I just went into it. That's good.
So my third,
paying attention.
Clearly. So my third one is you need loads of money to start.
Yeah, that's to be fair, that is what I would think. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to have to save, I don't know, hundreds of thousands to get going.
Yeah. So again, there's loads of people saying you need no money to start. I'm not sure I agree with that fully.
Yeah.
You need some money.
Okay.
So if you just think for a minute that if you're buying a property, you're going to need a deposit. Now, arguably, you could work with friends, family, or private investors to help you fund that deposit, which enables you to do the purchase. Fine. However, along the way, you've still got to pay for valuation fees. You've still got to pay your broker. You've still got to pay for legal fees. So all of those costs need to be considered. And then you've not even completed yet. So when you get the keys and you've completed, you've got a refurb to fund.
Yeah.
So And again, you could use private money for that, or you could use development finance, whatever it may be. But the developer finance lender will want to see some skin in the game. So you need to have some money, but you don't need to have all the money.
Okay.
I think that's a fair way of sort of summarizing it. And it's just making sure that you are literally not walking into a deal with nothing.
No.
It just makes it harder. I'm not saying it's impossible, because you can in certain situations do that, but your lender becomes more expensive if you go down the traditional lending route. And so that's going to cost you more, which is fine again. But then what does that do? It puts more pressure on your end value or your refinance value if you're holding on to it. But also it puts more pressure on the deal itself and what you're purchasing it at. So you've got to really stress test all of those numbers to make sure you're buying at the right price. And guess what? That right price is going to be quite a way off what the asking price is. Then you think, okay, well, how do I do that?
Yeah.
That's where your area becomes important. That's where your strategy becomes important in terms of what your exit plan is. And you're just going to have to graft and do that many more viewings, to see that many more properties, to find that many more potential people who will work on the numbers that you're looking at.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure. And you have to kiss a few frogs.
If you're early in the game, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But the building blocks of, what strategy is it? What area is it? What property type is it? I'd even say you need to go down to that level before you go on Rightmove.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of desktop research you can do, lots of talking with agents, understanding the areas and the property types that are selling and aren't, and that type of thing.
Yeah.
Before you even go out and start viewing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pre-work to do. So can it be done with no money? I'd argue no. Can it be done with some money? Yes. Some of your own money? Definitely.
Okay. Good to know.
Brilliant. Now we've smashed it. Thank you very much for joining. That brings us to the end of this one. We've got another few episodes to come.
Yes.
Where we're talking about business first, property second, I believe is the next one. So stay tuned and tell everyone about us. Thank you.